Welcome back to our mini ornament knit-along. I'm Jenny Fish, and in this episode, we're going to be making this adorable woven Swedish heart. It's based off of the traditional paper Swedish heart where you can still put little gifts inside. You can go ahead and get the kit with the pattern and the yarn that you'll need at onebighappy.com. Let's get started. Okay, so for the Swedish heart, we'll also still be using the teeny weeny wool and a size 2 knitting needle. This one's knit flat, so you can use straight needles if you want. I'm going to continue using my circular needles because I have them here with me. And I want to start with like the pattern, the construction of it. It's a cute little basket, but it's made in 2 pieces. Okay, so let me pull this apart so you can see what it looks like and the construction of it. This is based off of a traditional paper Swedish heart, but we just knit it. We're going to knit 2 pieces that look like this, and then fold them and weave them together, and I'll show you how we make that. First off, we are going to cast on 4 stitches, and you can just use a long tail cast on. So I'm going to make my slip knot. And cast on. I'll show you here. We're casting on here. These are a little wonky because they were folded up, but we're going to start here. And then we'll do some increases on the side and work up, and then I'll show you how we make these strips. So we're starting with long tail cast on, casting on 4 stitches. And if you need help with the long tail cast on, we do have a stitch support video, and we'll put a link up there above so you can click on that. I just did a simple cast on, and all of this will be in your pattern as well. So I got to remember to say row, not rounds, because we're working flat now. So row 1 is simple knit across. Then turn it over. Now row 2, we're going to be doing an increase. This is what's going to have it go out. So you knit 1. And the increase for this one that I used is a knit front and back, and it's called a KFB in the pattern. And you knit through the front of the stitch, swing around back, knit through the back leg of the stitch, and now I've just turned that 1 stitch into 2. So I'll show you that again. You knit into the front of the stitch, you leave that stitch on the needle, swoop around back, and then you knit through the back leg of that. And now I've increased again and knit 1. So that's how you work the increases. Go ahead and follow your pattern until you're ready to divide for the strips, and then I'll show you how we work those. Okay, so now we are on the row where we're going to divide for the strips, and I'll show you how we work that. We're going to knit the first 4 stitches. And then we're going to slide those on to some scrap yarn. So I've got a tapestry needle here with some scrap yarn in it. Contrasting color so you can see it later. And I'm going to slide that onto there. And then you can tie that. And that's going to hold those stitches for us until we're ready to work them here in a little bit. So now we're on the center strip. We're just going to knit 4. Like that. And again, we're going to place those 4 on some scrap yarn. Just like we did the first one. And these are just holding these aside later so that we can knit them separately so that we have those strips and they're separated. Okay, then the last section. Get this tied off here so they don't fall off. Okay, so now we're on this section right here. We've got these 4 stitches. We're going to work in garter stitch. That's knit every stitch on each side of the work. And you'll go ahead and just knit back and forth for the amount of rows that we need for the pattern. We'll go ahead and finish that up here. Then once you're done with that, you'll go ahead and cut the yarn and pick up the stitches here and knit those. Same thing. And if you need more information on this, we also have a scarf pattern called the Magic Weave Scarf that uses the same technique to make these strips. But you just knit back and forth until your strip is as long as you need. So once you go ahead and you knit all of your strips up, then meet me back here and I'll show you how we join them. Okay, so I just finished the 3rd strip. Now we're going to rejoin the strips together. And that's very simple. We're just going to go ahead and knit across these 4. And then we're going to go to the center strip and put those on our needle. Make sure you can see this. Slide that right in there. Then I can cut my scrap yarn, pull it out. Now I'm just going to knit across these. Now a good thing to keep an eye on, this is the yarn that I left off on. I want that all going in the same direction. If your yarn is on the other side, then you need to do 1 more row to get back. Otherwise, your garter stitch pattern will get backwards and you'll have a row of stockinette in the middle of there. So just a little check to make sure you're going the right way. Make sure that that tail from making that strip is right there on the right side. But we're using our working yarn from the 3rd strip that we just finished. Now we're working on the center strip or the 2nd strip. Knit across those stitches. Now, as you saw, I just kind of tugged on this tail because that stitch isn't, the tail isn't woven in, so that stitch is a little loose. You want to keep your tension, so if you need to tug on that tail to tighten that tension back up, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with, this is the 1st strip, but it's the last strip that we're adding, kind of backwards, but this is the one we started on, so we're back to that one. You go ahead, clip that real quick, and slide my needle through those stitches. Pull the scrap yarn out, and again, make sure that that tail from where you stopped on there is on the same side. Another indicator is you'll see a purl bump here. If you don't see that purl bump there, then you might be on the wrong side. If you don't see that purl bump, check the other side. You may have it twisted down here. You want all of these to lay flat as you're joining them together. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and knit across here. And when I'm done with that, they are all now back together. So then we'll knit across this row here one more time. And then we're going to start decreasing, which is the opposite of what we did on the other side, because here we started small and increased. Now we've got all the stitches on here, and now we need to decrease to make that little oval shape at the top. So we're doing a simple decrease. It's a knit 2 together. So you see these 2 stitches here. Slide your needle through both stitches, wrap around, and that's a decrease. I've just changed 2 stitches to 1 stitch. I did on this side. And keep knitting. Now you see there's a little bit of a gap right there. Those will close together as I keep knitting along, so don't worry about that. And then when you weave in your ends at the end too, it'll snug those up, and you can adjust your tension in that little gap area at that point. Knit to the last 3 stitches, and then we're going to knit 2 together just like we did before. Slide our needle through knit 2 together, and then knit the last one. So go ahead and follow your pattern using the decreases all the way until you get to 4 stitches, and then you bind off, and then this little section is done. And then next I'll show you how we weave them together. Okay, so now I want to show you how you weave these 2 pieces together. One of the things that I also want to point out is before we start weaving these together, you want to block them. And I wet blocked mine. These I had already put together, so they have that little crease there. But when you wet block them, then your stitches will kind of even out a little bit. I mean, this is really small knitting, not very many stitches, so it is a little wobbly anyway. But blocking it will give you a little bit more continuity to your stitches and bring it all back in, because as you're knitting those little pieces, they kind of stretch a little bit. So I'm just saying, go ahead and block it, lie flat to dry, and then we're going to fold each one of them in half like this. Okay, the idea is to weave these together to form a little basket in the center. So we're going to start off with them like this, and we're going to go over, and then in the middle, and then over. So I took this loop and I put it between, I brought the white one through, then I took the red one through the white one, and then I brought the white one through the red one. Now we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to put the red one through the white one, then put the white one through the red one. And don't hesitate to tug on these. They're fine. You can tug on them. It's garter stitch. It's wool. It'll be fine. Okay, then we're going to take the red one and put it through the white. And it'll just lay there underneath the white. Now on our last one, we're going to do the same as we did here. Your red one goes over the white, then the white goes over the red, and then the red goes over the white. And then just take a minute to straighten everything out, and you'll see you have a little basket. It opens up. You have a little pocket inside there. And then if you want it a little bit closed up, you could seam up the sides a little bit, give you a little bit more of a basket. I just think they're so cute and sweet. You could put a little piece of candy in there, hang them on your tree, give them out at Valentine's Day. They're just so adorable. In our next episode, we'll be working on making a banner with little pennants where you can put your holiday greetings using a duplicate stitch. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Happy knitting.